Hello, this is Mr. Bailey. I wanted to give you the heads up about a couple of things, and I'm going to make another video for the assignment later in the week that's already been posted. But in order for you to start reading Julius Caesar, you need to do the following. In the left-hand side in the navigation item underneath Unit 3, Leadership, if you click on Julius Caesar Text, Audio, and Video Resources, you click there, it's going to take you to the page that actually has a few different things. The first one is if you want to download the audio, you can, which I recommend that you do. You can also watch the entire video of Julius Caesar if you want. But the version I want you to actually read is this one down here, the Shakespeare at MIT. So I'm going to open that in a new tab. Okay, so one of the things that becomes a challenge for students when they are reading Julius Caesar, especially when they're starting off, is because in Act 1, Scene 1, Rome, a street, there are some characters with some strange names, and you got to know who they are. And, so I'm going to kind of go to that Act 1, Scene 1. So in Act 1, Scene 1, the characters that appear on this are Flavius and Marillus. And the thing is that Flavius and Marillus have a job. They're like the cops. Their actual title is called the tribunes. And so their job is to walk around the streets of Rome and make sure nobody's doing anything stupid or that they're not doing what they're not supposed to do. So in this case, Marillus and Flavius are wandering the streets of Rome, and they come across these mobs of commoners who are out and they're hammered and they're drinking and partying, and they're not supposed to be. It's not a holiday, so they're supposed to be at their shops or at home, doing their jobs and taking care of whatever they're supposed to take care of. But instead, they're just partying in the streets. So Marillus and Flavius's jobs are to send them home. And the thing is that these commoners are drunk, and in Shakespeare's time, this was meant to be a comedic scene. I recommend that you watch the scene and you'll see how an actor can make this kind of funny. But nonetheless, what you learn after some really bad puns is that they're out there partying for Julius Caesar. And this part of the play was meant to show that Caesar has grown really powerful among the commoners. So the other thing, though, is that Marillus, who is one of the cops, goes, man, it wasn't very long ago that you used to get all partied up for Pompey, which was Julius Caesar's rival in life. There was a big civil war between Julius Caesar and Pompey. And Pompey obviously lost the civil war, and Caesar came out stronger and more powerful than ever. And the thing is that Marillus is trying to illustrate that the commoners are pretty stupid. Like they cheer for whoever's in power. They don't really have some sort of thoughts or beliefs, which is why he calls them you blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome. And so anyway, by the end of the scene, Marillus and Flavius send all the commoners home. And they walk around the streets and they remove crowns that have been put on the statues of Julius Caesar's head. Because, in Rome, Julius Caesar had a whole bunch of statues of himself made. And but what happened was the commoners would climb up and put a crown on his head. For the record, Julius Caesar never accepts a crown and becomes king of Rome. It never happens. But in either case, Marillus and Flavius are concerned about the growing power of Caesar. And so you get the idea just in this very short piece that in Act 1, Scene 1, Julius Caesar, even though he's not even in the scene yet, he's a really powerful character among the commoners there. The next scene that you are to read then is Act 1, Scene 2. And this is a really, really deep scene, and it's happening in a public place, and Mark Antony and Caesar and all of these different senators, because Calpurnia is Caesar's wife, Portia is Marcus Brutus's wife, and then these are all a bunch of senators that are also in the crowd on the street. and they're all partying. The commoners are there cheering for them. They're celebrating a thing called the Lupercal, which was this festival that they had in which people like Mark Antony, and Antony is dressed up because he's gonna actually run this obstacle course that the Romans have set up. Basically, Antony's gonna run around, and as he's running through the streets, they're gonna hit him with little whips as he goes by because it's just good old Roman fun. Um, and so they're about to celebrate. They're about to have fun while Antony runs around in this race and the commoners harass him, etc. But in either case, you get an idea of the friendship between Caesar and Mark Antony. He's like, don't forget to touch my wife because after you run your race, if you touch her, she'll be able to have children. And Antony responds with, I shall remember when Caesar says, do this, it is performed. It shows you the close relationship that Antony and the almost subservient relationship that Antony has towards Caesar. We also have an exchange with what is called the soothsayer. And soothsayer is the truth-sayer. That's what sooth means in Old English. And the soothsayer has an ominous warning for Julius Caesar, and we'll see if he listens to it. Later on, then, this gigantic conversation between Brutus and Cassius takes place. And what I want you to do is understand that Brutus is a good person. He's a noble person. And Cassius, on the other hand, doesn't like Caesar at all. And he needs somebody like Brutus to be on his side. So in the conversation that follows, Cassius uses a series of rhetorical devices and techniques to get Brutus to join him and turn him against Julius Caesar. Then later on in the scene, Caesar and all of them come back, and Caesar recognizes the threat of Cassius. He's like, young Cassius, his lean and hungry look, he thinks too much and such men are dangerous. And then he leaves, and then Casca, the other senator, tells Brutus and Cassius what was happening. In particular, in the background, there was some shouting that took place, and 3 times, and the commoners offered a crown to Caesar 3 times, and he denied it 3 times, and on one of the times he had an epileptic seizure while they offered it to him. So in either case, that's the general gist of what's happening in Act 1, Scene 2. I'll do a separate video here about Act 1, Scene 3, but I'd like for you to read along with it and listen to it, and I think that it'll make sense. If you're not sure of what happened, I'd also recommend downloading and watching the video version of it, so just to see how they staged it and how it went. But you should definitely read and listen to the words while you're reading, and then come back and watch the video version if there's an issue.